What's going on, everyone? My name is JAX, and welcome back to the channel. We have a 9-year anniversary breakdown trailer video. I'm so excited, man. We did it on live stream, reacting to it and breaking it down, so if you want to go check that out, me, Bart, and Pinhead kind of go frame by frame and see what Easter eggs there are. And obviously, if you've seen the thumbnail and you've seen the end of the video, there are two characters who we believe to be January's champions, but I'm going to do that in another video. But if you don't know, White Tiger and Bullseye, two Summoner's Choice losers, so pretty excited that Bullseye, who's been 3 Summoner's Choice votes, 2 official ones, and then the underdog vote to get into his second one. And then, of course, you know, White Tiger, who got second against Gladiator. But like I said, we'll leave that for another video. This video is going to be all about kind of the future of the game, the Act 8 and 9. And it's just Ouroboros, which, if you don't know, is basically the Chronoserpent's team, his shadow organization that had been doing his bidding behind the scenes for a while. And this kind of gives us just a hint of what's next for us, and it's really exciting. So we start off in Hassenstadt Castle, which is Queen Hassen, aka Morningstar, aka Guillotine 2099. It's her castle. Her followers kind of like decorated it for her return, and it's pretty interesting. All right, so basically we see the Collector and the Grand Master back together, which is cool because, you know, their story of them being against each other in the contest and now finally back together because Karina's like, stop fighting and bickering, figure it out. And then they're finally figured it out and they're back together. They are together, which is really cool. And you basically see the statues of the characters that we'll see at the end of the trailer, and these statues, like these reliefs coming off the wall. And then they get to the third one, they're like, that shouldn't be. And it's the Ouroboros symbol, which you can see on Bahamut's belt, which is a snake, or the Midgard serpent, the Jormungandr giant eating its own tail, moving the world around in an infinite. Pretty exciting, and it opens up like the cracking, and it's really cool. And you actually see the 3 Ouroboros we've seen so far. Obviously, Cytalis, Bahamut, and Cereces, which is really cool in their respective classes with their respective colors, which is really interesting, which makes me excited if we're going to get more, but I'll get into that until later. And then we actually get them fighting the different characters that we saw in the relief and the end of the trailer. And it's like this what-if style shading, kind of like the Marvel Snap trailers, so that's really cool. I like the creative direction. And we freaking get Punisher. We get Glycon. Like, oh my gosh, I have been waiting for this dude for years, man. Like, you guys don't know, okay? If you guys don't know the lore behind this character, okay, it's not that much, but it is really cool. So obviously this guy's name is Glykhan, which we get from Marvel Rumble Champions, we get his first appearance in Marvel Rumble Champions. But the whole thing about this being a corrupted Punisher has been a theory for the game for a long time, because Punisher, the classic Punisher in the game, just disappeared from the game, from the contest, and he's not on any maps, and he just went away. And Gabe Rosera's like, oh, there's a reason, and we're like, what? And then Marvel Rumble Champions ended, and the Punisher shows up in its final cutscene, and we're like, holy crap, this is what it's been leading to. And he basically does the final blow against the Maestro, and it is just the coolest thing ever. And we see Cytalis and Bahamut in that trailer. That's the first time we ever see them. Like, Cersei wasn't there. It was them from the Marvel Realm Champions. And yeah, and finally we get the first look at him. He looks very different, which I'll show the difference. But it is really interesting. And the first thing I noticed, honestly, is his chest, because he has the new Punisher logo. If you guys have read the comics, the Marvel kind of changed it when he's in charge of the hand, so you could definitely see. I think it's definitely Frank. Of course, you know, Frank makes a lot of sense, because in 8.2, we get him basically showing up, saying, greetings to you champions of the Battle Realm, be not afraid, I am Glykhan. I don't know if I'm mispronouncing that, but, you know, he showed up in the story of the game, which is really cool. And of course, like I mentioned, he does the final blow against the Maestro. The Maestro basically wasn't dying, because he was empowered by the Chronoserpent, and he couldn't die because he basically has the antibodies of the Chronoserpent keeping him alive, because the Chronoserpent needs to corrupt people. He needs to use them to be alive, because he's kind of fractured across the entire Battle Realm, because the Battle Realm basically was formed on top of him, and he's been kind of cracked, and he's the true villain of the contest. But we really haven't seen him besides Marvel Realm Champions cutscene and a few Act 6 cutscene, as well as the Avengers Forever quest, which I'll go into, because there is a nice little callback to that. But yeah, it is really interesting that that he doesn't look the way he does in this cutscene. So you know, we have like this really interesting theory of Sorry, it's not this one. Yeah, there we go. In the cutscene, he's the only one that talks from the Ouroboros, and he talks the same way the Chronoserpent. It's like they're finishing the same sentence, like they are one of the same being. So it's gonna be interesting on like how he's probably gonna be the most powerful version of the Ouroboros characters. But yeah, his design looks really cool. It looks very tech, but kind of all of them do. They all have like this tech, honestly, on them. They look like they've been corrupted to be their future versions of themselves. Like, you know, Bahamut is not a version of Bruce Banner. He's a version of Bruce Banner who got rid, like, or is like an evil version of Bruce Banner in a way, but it's not something we've ever seen from the comics. They're all like their own unique versions. Cytalos has like ISO and like a cyborg leg. Cytalos is kind of like the Deadly Origins, but just corrupted. And now this Punisher is really cool. He's got some of the similar design palettes of the others, but he has a tomahawk and a freaking hammer. So I am over the moon because I'm a blacksmith. So to see him having those two weapons I've made, or at least modified. I've made a few axes. You know, my name's J-Axe, all right? I can't not make an axe, right? So I'm freaking over the moon, and he's got like this Mad Max, you know, mask on, and his skin is white, which is interesting because it makes me think of like Frankenstein. But yeah, man, I am just over the moon with this character because this is years in the making. You know, what 2 years since Marvel Realm Champions ended. I mean, it's crazy. It absolutely is crazy. And this is kind of like, in the end of Realm World Champions, we get the Chronoserpent saying that he needs these parasites to keep native beings to become protect the planet, which is going to be pretty interesting. So I wonder if we'll kind of, Aegon's been a big part of Act 8, and I think he might, I don't know if we'll get like a corrupted Aegon, but if he needs like these native beings like the Maestro, who kind of like helped, bring a lot of the people into the contest when he was, you know, the head of the contest, it's going to be really interesting. I'm very excited, and then we just get this final shot, and this final shot of the Ouroboros by themselves, and you see the Chronoserpent in the background. I mean, it's just, it is really cool, which is honestly a very clear callback to, I didn't even put it on my screen. Is a very clear callback to this scene from the Avengers Forever quest, which is the first time we ever see the Chronoserpent. So it's cool that he's in the exact same pose. And that one in Act 6, we're basically told that he's in pieces. So it definitely feel like Ouroboros is kind of getting those pieces, and he's becoming more powerful as he makes more Ouroboros things. And then we get White Tiger and Bullseye, which I'll save for another video. But to see this is just so cool, man. I mean, it's just so cool. Obviously Glycon has to be Act 8.4 boss. Now, what happens after 8.4 is going to be kind of the interesting theory is because we're kind of told Ouroboros is kind of a big organization, and we've seen like the teases, like we saw a big 4 for the Ouroboros, but honestly there could be other members that we just don't have yet. I mean, we have a skill, we have a tech, and we have a science. We don't know the class of Glykon. He could be the combined class, or he could be skill class. It feels like more skill class if he has a tomahawk and an axe. But regardless, I kind of think we could get 3 other classes we don't have. We don't have Mutant, Mystic, or Cosmic. And then we don't have the Chronoserpent himself. So we saw the head of the Chronoserpent fight Galactus in the Marvel Realm Champions thing, but he's still not one piece. So I think we're probably going to have to fight more of them in Act 9. So we could have, like, I don't know, like Thor for Cosmic, maybe Scarlet Witch, or maybe Doctor Strange for Mystic, and then maybe like Storm or like Namor, because like if they want to, like, these all feel like Avengers members. I mean, Punisher doesn't, but if not Punisher, like if not Avengers members, original members of the contest. So I definitely feel like we're gonna get like these classic characters from the 2014, 2015 era of the contest to come back and just be their modern, modified, corrupted version. So there's so many cool theories we could get. I'm very, very excited. I hope you guys are too, and I hope you guys enjoy this video. If you have any theories, if you guys are excited for Glykon, probably 8.4 boss, and of course White Tiger, you can see in the bottom left, and Bullseye right next to Venom and Karina. I mean, this is just the future of the game, and I could not be more excited. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Peace out, everybody.